Hey everyone, today I thought we'd mix up the Photoshop tutorial and show you a different piece of software. So if you remember in the part one of this video, I told you that other tools are better suited for this actual project. So I wanted to introduce you to a new piece of software. If you're a Creative Cloud subscriber, you have the ability to download the software as part of your membership. If you sign up for just like the Photoshop Lightroom Photographers bundle, you don't. But if you opted in for the complete Creative Cloud suite, this is definitely available to you. So I kind of want to introduce you to this piece of software and show you how much easier it is. So this is kind of a continuation of part one, but it's also introducing something completely new and a different way of doing it. So if you remember back to part one, we had started with all of these layers. So this is basically the point before we started making the individual masks for each one of the layers. So what we're actually going to do is we're just going to save this. So we'll just save this as this. We'll click save. Okay. And then we're going to jump over to After Effects. So when you first open After Effects, you're going to get a window that looks like this. And it's kind of intimidating because it's blank and you don't know where to start. So the first thing you actually need to do is you need to go to New Composition and just give it something. So we're going to make a video clip. So 1920 by 1080, that's the normal video size. We'll just call this Holo Car. And then so this is the title name, preset. If you have a preset, you can do that. Basically, we want 1920 by 1080. That's a standard HD video. Square pixels, we're going to go 30 frames per second. We want resolution at full. And then down here, our duration, this is measured out in video language. So this right here is frames, and then it goes to seconds, minutes, and then hours. So we're just going to put it at 20 seconds. We'll click OK. And then over here, you can see it's populated some stuff. So this is your video. This is actually what's going to play. This is your timeline down here. And over here is the bin for all of your footage. So we'll just right click in here and we'll click import and then file. So we'll go to that file that we saved that PSD file in, and we'll click there and we'll click open. And we want to make sure that this option right here is clicked. So this says merge layers, styles into footage. I'll show you what that does in just a second, and also composition. So we'll click OK. So you can see that file populated right here. Now what we want to do is just pull that straight down to here. That's going to pop our footage into the window. So already you can see that it's quite a bit easier than Photoshop because you don't have to go and line all of those files up and you don't have to trim them over. It's already done all of that work for us. So right now, this video is only 3 seconds. So if we wanted to, we could hit Command D. That would make a duplicate of that, and we could offset that. So now what we've done is we've doubled the length of our video to 6 or 7 seconds. And you can see it plays seamlessly because it picks up right where the last one left off. But before we do that, let's do some work on this one really fast. So when we duplicate it, it's easier. So what we're going to do is you can toggle down this, and you have some different options here. We want to go to scale because we've lost some of the frame here. So we're going to click scale. We're going to scale this up a little bit. That way our car fills the frame nicely. And then the second thing we want to do is we want to get rid of this green background. So if you remember in Photoshop, we had to go to each individual layer and we had to create a layer mask. And we had to do that for all 26 layers I think we had. So if you come over here, you have an effects and preset panel. It's also in here. So this one organizes it by what you want to do. So we want to key this out. So we have an option here. It's called Key Light. So we'll just click on that. It automatically applies it to this layer. And then if you click here, you see you have screen color. What this is asking you is what color you want to delete. So we're going to take the little eyedropper tool and we're going to click right on the green. And you can see already our footage is completely keyed out. Everything in the background is black. If we put an image behind that, it would be completely transparent. One thing that you can do is you can actually, this is very similar to Photoshop, is you can click on here and you can see your masks. So how we put layer masks on individual layers, this does the same thing for video. So you can go and see what that mask looks like. So as you can see, we have some area that's still transparent, which is good because those are windows. So we want that to be able to see through to our background. So pretty cool. So if we just click this back on final result. So then the other thing that we want to do is we want to make this look a little bit more like a hologram. And before we do that, what I want to do is make a copy, and I'll show you why we're going to do that. So we're going to hit Command D, and we're going to work on this top layer really fast. So again, we're going to go over to our effects panel right here, and you can see I was kind of playing with this already, but I'll delete that and we'll start from scratch. So the first thing we want to do is type in find edges. And you can see as you start typing in, it automatically pulls up presets and effects that have the same naming. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that and we're going to pull this over. And as you can see, we're already starting to get that kind of hologram look. So if you look at some hologram images, it has like really defined edges in it. So this is kind of getting us to that. And you can change how much it blends with the original, if you want it to blend a little bit more or less. So you can almost pick something like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to type in glow. So we'll pull glow onto here. And you can already see we're getting some of that hologram look. So we'll change the colors here. We want more of a like blue output. We'll change something maybe a little bit darker. Maybe something like that. And now we can go in and we can kind of mess with these. You can make it more or less. You can bring up the radius. Glow intensity. And then we're going to do one more thing. So let's go to Effect and Color Correction. And let's tint this image. So again, we want kind of that hologram blue look. And maybe we want a little bit darker for the second color. And you can change the amount that you tint, more or less. But I think that looks kind of cool. And so the reason that we made a duplicate is now we can toggle this down and we can go to opacity. So we can bring through a copy of that bottom so we get a little bit of that color on shining through from the regular image. And these are very similar to Photoshop layers. It's just video. So they're built on top of each other. So that, I think that looks pretty good. And this is actually how I did the sample video that I posted to my Instagram. So let's make another copy of this. We'll just hit Command D. We'll slide this over. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. This will be easier. So we're happy with the way that this looks. Similar to how you put layers and groups in Photoshop, you can do the same thing in this software. So if you hold Shift, select both of those layers, and then you right-click and you click Pre-Compose. So essentially what we did is we just made a group of that video layer. And now if we go over to here, we can pull this. The only downside is that it makes that pre-composed layer the entire length of your composition. So it made it 20 seconds. So now what we can do is we can hit Command D on this layer. We can offset this, and we'll just zoom in to make sure we get everything lined up. And we'll do that a couple more times just so we fill up our timeline here. And we'll just pull that over. And then if you go into composition, you can click trim comp to work area, and then it will cut it off there. So now if we zoom out and we hit the space bar to play, you can see we perfectly transition from one set of footage to the next. And it looks like the car is just spinning there. So then we can go back up here. Let's import another file, and let's import a background. And then let's go to our and let's take this, and now we're gonna pre-compose these, or put all of these in a group. So let's bring our background in here. We'll go ahead and hit S, which is the shortcut to get to scale. We'll scale this down. Maybe move it down just a little bit. And then let's take our footage here and we can scale this down a little bit as well. We can just kind of move that up here. And then if we play through, you can see we have the car kind of spinning there. So then the next thing to do would be to add the glow. But I think we'll save that for another video. And so in the next video, we'll cover how to make that glow, and then we'll cover how to export this out. And then also, I think we might jump back into Photoshop and show how you do that in that, that software. The steps are essentially the same, but I just wanted to kind of introduce you into this piece of software, show you what it's all about, and show you how much easier it is to do things like this in this piece of software. So hopefully you like this little bit of change. Hopefully you like the variety. If you have questions, leave them in the comment. Otherwise, until next time, take care.